Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Have the Race Gone for round 2 of the TSR Super Formula here from Autopolis. And these high-strung Japanese open-wheelers. It's a pleasure to have you all along, and we're in for a thrilling race yet again. Last week out we had the Mad Greek, that is Crazy John, taking a light to flag victory in an impressive fashion indeed. Let's see if he can repeat the feat tonight. It's a strong field of contenders. Pinkery, Martin Favhuisen, we've got JC, we've got Antares, who's Filipino living in Japan and not American at all. Although it says American, which he explained to me, of course, suffering my curse due to tradition. Anyways, a warm welcome to everyone that has joined us already. To Olegna, to Wizard, to Welsh as well. There's a big fat Discord pop-up in the way of chat at the moment. But it's gonna be a hell of a race. It's a little bit of a difference to regulations from the first race, and mind you that these that's tire settings, they'll be changing from race to race during the season. And tonight, as always, we'll have 2 compounds of tires available, and as you can see tonight, it is the mediums and the softs, and that means of course that the drivers will have unlimited sets of medium tires, but a single set of softs only here for the race. Evening Hippiehead as well, evening to Alex, evening to Schosse, Martin, to our trusted moderator that is Apple, Sugar Rush is here, Stick, John, all you guys. I hope you are enjoying your Tuesday evening here. Qualifying is set to begin in just about 3 minutes. Phil Denty, evening, good to see you. And just like last time out, qualifying is a warm-up lap and then 5 flying laps where the drivers can put in their times. Damage set to heavy, and Vera Stick in our GTP thread joking with ABS would be run with ABS 2 off, but that is certainly not the case. Evening Rips as well. And doing fine stuff here as we have I was about to say donuts, but I guess it's either baguettes or croissants. If you can you Shoma, if you can make a long straight one, and he'll certainly be making 2 baguettes there. So fastest time set in qualifying, or in in practice, of course, so far by Wake CU in the Sugar Rush performance car with the sweet Ben & Jerry livery, Honda engine. Of course, we're running a manufacturer's championship here as well. And thanks, Phil. I'm quite well, should I say. Spring is slowly coming over us here in Denmark. The day is getting longer and everything. More and more sunshine, and temperatures actually creeping above 10 degrees. Warp Speed Sugar Rush performance. Of course, Martin, how could I? How could I? I'm so sorry. It's of course the Warp Speed Sugar Rush performance team that, if I'm not completely mistaken, has also gotten Jimmy involved in some guy. At least I think Martin made an even fresher car guy livery, which we see here now with a lot of traffic cars coming onto the track at the moment. Ethan, hello. Deuten. Yeah, exactly. Warp Speed car guy. Warp Speed is now a 3-car entity within the TSR Super Formula. JC, of course, also back for round 2 here. As Welsh notes, we're starting soon, and that means, of course, qualifying is set to get underway quite shortly here. Haven't mentioned, of course, but of course also one of the contenders that I haven't mentioned yet. It's Halbstark, representing for the CRN boys, the Clean Racing Network. How many laps in the race, Rips? If I'm not completely mistaken, I think it's 56. But being slightly uncertain, I'm already on my way into the GTP thread to actually find out, because I'm not quite sure. But I think it's 56 laps tonight. Yep, 56 laps indeed. Here at Autopolis. So people want to see some baguettes. It goes for the Wizard and Olegna as well. Well, let's find Baguettes. Where is he? Is he even on track at the moment? He's hiding somewhere. But he's here. It is true. The AS Monaco driver Chomar is here. He's standing in for Dad24DH, who couldn't attend tonight. And Julie found a quality replacement driver, it has to be said. So just a couple of minutes till qualifying start. We also, of course, also have Joe of the Fire in the lobby. He's not on track yet. Same goes for a couple of the other guys just here spectating. I hope it's no issue here. I have CJ also asking if it's only 10. So I guess it's just about right. So yeah, after an eventful race last week with a lot of really good action, actually, I personally have really been looking forward for this race, even though you could suspect that it's going to be difficult to overtake here at Autopolis. And I, for one, think that qualifying and to start the opening, well, 2 laps or so is going to be really important. And then, of course, the race will be decided in the end on, if not raw pace, then pit strategy. Good question, Phil. A good question. We have Alex answering the question with pace, with impetus. 5 flying laps in qualifying and 1 warm-up lap, so 6 laps indeed. Also qualifying is at 50 past. Okay. Impotence. He's lost with impotence. First time I heard someone say impetus in any kind of sports commentary, did stutter a bit and said, what? And then figured out what it was all about. Here's Martin Favhausen on his outlap. Ooh. And that's the start of the qualifying. Chat already degrading before qualifying gets underway. I like that. It's lovely. And a very good evening to everyone here on the brink of qualifying. Everyone who's joined us during the warm-up period. You haven't missed a thing. All the action yet to come from the second round of the TSR Super Formula Series. A little cameo appearance from my trusted mate and pal and friend through a long time and many tough situations. Coffee is always there to keep me up. Well, we're just waiting for the action to get underway, and as mentioned in chat, it's neutral fuel burn. That means times 1, I should probably say. And for this race, it's gonna be tire wear times 3, and with mediums and softs on display, in the combination with a track that has quite a bit of off-camber corners, I think we're gonna be looking at drivers having a little bit of trouble with tire wear here tonight. What is my favorite paint scheme for these cars? Well, it's a shame really that we can't really see him yet. Qualifying is open. Well, I'm gonna be able to answer your question quite shortly. So we're watching the Noir Antares, or just Antares in the PlayStation liveried car. Quite nice indeed. But my favorite livery amongst these, difficult indeed. I have to say, I think the cars of GT Welsh and VRS Stick certainly looks really good. Welsh suffering the curse of the commentator, binning it instantly, or is it the curse of the host? But I think that one's really nice. I think the car guy livery, Martin's come with an updated version for this race, and it looks the part. I think it's really good looking. T5's car that follows the traditional Advent Racing TSR Motorsports color scheme. I really like that one as well. And then we got Martin in the cam hatch car, also looks the part. The Velux Esports team, the Volux, the Velux, that's something else, that's a Danish window company. The Volux Esports team car really looks the part, and I think I have to say the same for Wake CU. Of course, Chomar's livery game is always on point with his Monaco liveries. So you be the judge, and nice to see some predictions coming in. Aris says CJ, Martin, and Wake for his top 3. Well, that's a pretty good prediction, I think. Although it has to be accounted for. Joe of the Fire, he could well be up there, although I think he's not too fond of Autopolis. We'll have to see how he fares along. Dr. Hash, he could very well be up there as well. T5 Black was going strong last week. Halbstark, well, he's certainly got the pace to be up there indeed. The same goes for VRS Stick. Martin Favors, he very much was there last week, but my big bet for tonight would be Chomar, although he says that he's had very little practice. We'll have to see. And yeah, the PlayStation, the PS4 livery of Antares, certainly very, very well done. I have to agree with you on that one, Phil. It's certainly, while being, it's like understatedly realistic, and I really like that. And it's yet still really detailed, and it needs a closer look before you get all the details in, and that's also something. Qualifying, of course, underway. Antares with the first pole lap here. Let's get the qualifying details underway so we can keep an eye on the laps being set. A 1:24.9 from the Filipino. But it certainly is quite open here for the top 3, I have to say. It can go many ways. And of course, strategy, an all-important part of this series. Last week we saw now CJ bettering that provisional pole time with a 1:24.5. So the Mad Greek, Crazy John, is here. Looks on point to repeat the feat from last week when he put the pole on, when he put the car on pole on Suzuka. It's Welsh third at the moment, and his best time is a 25 1:35. It's in turn also his first, or his the only time he's set so far. Let's see if there will be any improvement here on his second lap as he rounds that final long right hand sweeper, and then the left kink up towards the line. It's going to be a slight improvement for GT Welsh, but still sitting third provisionally on the grid. Someone we haven't noticed at all, but who's very much also a contender and who set the fastest lap last time out. It's Armored Core, the young American, who uses the same motion input controls as CJ on the DS4. The 6-axis, you know, where you just kind of... Oh, and Armored Core here through Sector 2. He's a 10th up. He's a 10th purple on the best time set by CJ. And his best time, his first 2 times, hasn't really been close. But he might be dialed in this time around. Let's see how it goes. Sound of soda. Just having to do a short bit of experimenting. Is it possible to... No, it's not. It's what's frustrating me is that I cannot get the GT Sport to show me the lap times as well, but I'll leave you out of my frustration with that stuff. But Armored Core, in the end, isn't able to beat the time set by CJ. He's just about 2/10 down, puts himself second so far. Wake CU 5th at the moment, but 2 seconds down. It's very close there in midfield, at least between Wake and Shimmy now. T5 Black, he goes 5th fastest, and that's 1:26.4 for him. See Shomar, he's in 8th at the moment. So worth noticing that he's qualifying on the mediums, so he's gonna go for mediums early race and then gonna save his soft compound tires for later. And might be worth noticing how many drivers are actually opting to start on the mediums rather than the soft. Same goes for Pinkery and VRS Stick, JC, Halbstag, Hash, and Martin Favhausen, he is on the racing softs. Joe of the Fire, he's on the racing softs as well. Those two have had no luck with their qualifying sessions so far, seeming to have had incident after incident, both though being on flying laps now. What a shocker if Joe of the Fire doesn't manage to put in, well, at least a banker lap. I think I've never seen such a qualifying session. I've never seen him have to start all the way at the back of the grid like this. The witty professor in the half the race gone nuke shot, or the nuke shot half the race gone car. Of the 2 nuke shot cars, the others sponsored by Atomic Introjectables. And that is the car of Armored Core. And yeah, Phil, I think it'd be perfect if they actually choose to do so. Seeing Jamie, it's of course JC getting out of the way of Joe of the Fire, goes 4th, and just after that he goes purple through the first sector. And Martin Favhausen, he's in 6th position on the grid so far. And then Wake 7th, but he's first of the medium runners, and that might be why we're seeing that 8/10 or 7.5 tenths of a gap between Martin and Wake CU. Oh, CJ's picked up some damage, but in turn he's also improved. Look at that 4th lap, a 1:24.3 pretty much. 2:94, rounds it up to a 3. Strong stuff. Armored Core, he's done. I think CJ picking up that damage. He's not gonna have the chance to improve upon that. And Tyrus, he's done. Joe of the Fire very much still in contention, and we saw he was running purple through the first sector on that lap. Let's see what's gonna be. It's not gonna be pole, though it's gonna be third for Joe of the Fire. Very close to Armored Core. 0.03 of a second in between. And just 0.2 up on Antares, more or less. Pushes down Antares into fourth. It's Welsh fifth. Martin Favhausen still has to complete his last lap. Let's see if he can cause any kind of ruckus in the final standings. Oh, Wangcam, let's go on board. He's gonna improve ever so slightly. And it's just about not enough to tip Welsh off 5th position. And that means we got Martin Favhausen going in 6th position. And then, as I mentioned, it's T5 Black in 7th. Then also on the softs, then Wake CU in 8th. First of the medium qualifiers. And then Jimmy in the car guy. Oh, he's on softs as well. Shomar in 10th position on the mediums, and then everyone from there on and down is starting on the mediums, and that's for Pinkery, Stick, JC, Halbstack, and Dr. Hash as well. Dr. Hash complains of a GP2 engine. Didn't I say that? You are still 5th. I might have said something wrong. If I did, I'm sorry. But of course, Welsh is still 5th. He's 4/10 down on Antares. He's a 2nd down on CJ, who, by the way, takes his 2nd pole position consecutive out of 2 possible. So 100% hit rate for CJ, who really seems to be getting along well with the Super Formula car. It seems to fit his style perfectly, and he is really flying. Look at that lap, 0.5 up on Armored Core, half a second indeed between the two. I have the power. Someone insert the Palpatine meme. Unlimited power! And I even made the face there. I gotta get a webcam so you can see my face while I'm commentating. I gotta get a capture card for my... Oh yeah, for a moment I completely forgot that my PC actually died 3 weeks ago. And that me and Trials have been trying to repair it, but that it's actually... It's pretty dead. We will resurrect it. It shall come back as the Jesus child did many years ago, if it even happened. I shall not go into religious debate. Touched on a dangerous subject there. I just realized that as I was going along. But yeah, the PC died, and I hope I can get it back running and get a capture card so we can start streaming from the PC, add of those small extra details like a start screen, end screen, overlays, all that stuff that would just be able to take it to the next level. Also actually work a little bit with the audio settings. Not that we have bad audio, I guess here. The Yeti, Blue Yeti that I'm using, by the way, is doing a brilliant job, I have to say. Anyways, I think we're getting quite close to the race start by now. And should I just go through the starting format, because it is a little different from what we've seen so far on the channel. It's a little less complicated than what we had for the GT300 series, also run by TSR as well. But basically to ensure that the drivers have full control over how much fuel they start the race with, we're starting on very low fuel for a first parade lap. Then all the drivers pit in. They're not allowed to touch their tires, but they are allowed to fuel up then to whatever degree they find fitting, then exit the pits, form up in the grid order, park up as they come along for a standing start, and then the race timer at the bottom left of your screen will decide when the go signal is given. Yeah, Phil, the donate button and all that, you know, direct YouTube donations, super chat, all that stuff. That magical promised land opens up at I think 1,000 subs, 1,000 subscribers. So still a bit of way left before we get there to the promised land. We actually do have a Patreon page that we've recently opened up. I think there's a link at the bottom of the description, if I'm not completely mistaken. So it's donut time. Is it also baguette time? He's trying. Is he trying? Let's see. Baguettes, 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 baguettes. No. Okay. Baguettes. So, I think we're more or less ready as we're watching CJ go in circles. Best of luck to all the drivers. Now we have the race going underway. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get the warm-up laps underway. We have two, as I mentioned just before. So CJ taking pole position, and in front of Armorcore, Joe of the Fire. Then it is Antares, GT Welsh, Martin Vijfhuizen, T5 Black, Wake CU. Then it's Jimmy, Shomar, Pinkery, VRS Stick, JC, Halbstack, and Dr. Hash. And that is the entirety of our grid for this race. And best of luck, of course, to all the racers. Remember to also have fun. And let's see, as I touched upon earlier in the broadcast, I think we will see the drivers having a bit of a difficult time overtaking with these very high downforce car here around Autopolis. I am quite sure that the dirty air is really gonna play in. And I think we're gonna see the effects of it as cars get too close to each other, all the way through these this long middle sector. Of course, there is turn one, or as we named it for the IGTL 3 hours of Autopolis, Send It Corner, because we saw an incredible amount of send into turn one here, and it was actually the prime spot for overtaking. Anywhere else, most of the time made for some hefty long battles. Rarely did it make for any actual overtakes. Evening to Ryan Racing, and good evening to everyone who's joined us here on the formation lap, we could call this one. And then we'll have the drivers pitting in, fueling up, and then having a second warm-up lap, we'll call that one, just to have some kind of stupid distinction between the two. And then our organizers are gonna give out a time on that race timer in the bottom left. That's gonna be used for giving the start signal. And that also means that we might be seeing tires go cold on the way into turn one. And this is actually also important, or interesting at least. Of course, with the two compounds available, we've seen the entirety of the drivers qualifying on the soft compounds, more or less. Oh, Joe of the Fire, that's a short one. Or did he underfuel? Or is it just going to be a short first stint for him? because it certainly is a part of it that the drivers starting on the soft compounds are probably going to go for some very short stints indeed. With tire wear on times 3, it's not going to be possible for them anyhow to extend that stint like we saw on Suzuka, where it was the hard and medium compounds available, and tire wear was at times 2, so the medium compound was able to be stretched in a completely different way. So the dynamics of this race in turn, I think, is going to be a little bit different. And of course a lot of tire warming here, frantic stuff from Armored Core, really well, it's a good chance also just to get an extra look at some of those corners, just as we saw that elevation change through what I believe is turn 11, the second of 2 hairpins on the track, the left-hand hairpin, as you crest a little hill, and it shifts downwards for the exit, really makes the car unstable, and then up through this final sector, several of these right-left sweepers in conjunction with each other. Well, they're almost all of them off camber and at places and parts and places. It's difficult indeed. Autopolis technical, it's challenging, and as I've mentioned, it's difficult to overtake. So let's see if the drivers can all find their spots on the grid. I actually saw the F1 race, an old F1 clip. I don't remember actually which one it was, but Giancarlo Fisichella managed to miss his booth on the grid. Let's see if we get a proper lineup here. The back of the grid all running up. A little bit of tire warming on the line. Pro indeed. Pinkery somehow has picked up a penalty here. Oh. Uh-oh. And then the lobby died. Or, I mean, is the lobby still running, or... F's out. God damn it. Well, it's Musac time, everyone. I don't know what happened. Well, I have no idea what happened. I think the lobby just got nuke. Yeah, the lobby really... Oh well, that's a start. Just no. Fancy livery on that M4, thanks. I'm just interested to see if we can get the lobby back up, or if it's all... yeah, it was a disconnection, and there was some kind of connection issue somewhere. And by now I guess we're just waiting for something to get back online. Well, what a poor bit of timing. Just as this is perhaps the most anticlimactic moment on the channel yet, I think. So we should have a new room going up. This will of course be the perfect time to get a hold of whatever refreshments. As of course we will need to repeat the entire starting procedure, and of course it is gonna take us just a few couple of minutes. Oh yeah, I'm still in the M4 after Saturday's Group 4 endurance race. That was a phenomenal race. Oh, you're having connection problems. And thanks, Phil. Thanks. It was actually it was Tral's idea. He made a livery, matching livery for the McLaren Group 4 car, and we wanted to do a couple of matching ones, so I made that one. I do like the fluid color change, and it's funky. I guess it's just within, not too much. It's much. That's of course a question of taste. 58 laps. Yeah, that's true, Alex. Because I think Trials missed 2 consecutive races. Why is there a discussion going on in the lobby about Sugar Rush? Makes me sometimes combined with the Ben and Jerry, it makes me think of the feeling that you get when you bite an ice cream and you get that kind of brain freeze. I think it's called. So I think we're just waiting for everyone to hop in the lobby. Is there any way to check the connection? Actually, not really. That seems to happen every time we join someone, basically anyone here in practice. They go off immediately. Jimmy seems to be the exception. Let's see if Joe manages to do so. No, he keeps it on the track. That's good. Oh, and just as I said, almost though. So we've lost the qualifying session as well. The qualifying results, I guess. Well, that's rather unlucky. Well, that means we'll have a one-shot qualifying session instead. It's gonna be a one-shot qualifying session instead. Oh, one lap of what? Qualifying? I think, well, what if... I guess drivers should be able to remember their positions in qualifying. But let's see about that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Everybody remembers their position. So it's simple. Well, that is a simple way, I guess, in the end. And also more fair, since we've already had the qualifying being done. That lag from JC. I'm finding it. Sugar Rush, Strawberry Gum, English Wine Gums. I think Wake should make a Bassett's English Wine Gum liveried car for one of the seasons. As his candy theme continues. Evening to Fairdinkern. It's nice to see you. How bad was his lag? I don't really see any lag on Wake, so but that's me. Just waiting for everyone to get on grid. We're gonna get the grid set and we're gonna get the race underway in the shortest possible matter of time, I guess. We had what you could call an unlucky delay there right at the moment of start, basically. Well, at least that's true week after week after week after week. It's becoming a thing here with but it seems that it's mostly because of some lobby issues. Still waiting for the last cars. It's CJ we need. We need CJ on track. And no, Fairdenker and Hash is on track. It's not him needing a poo break this time around. So here it is. The final has started, and let's see if we can get things right. Or get things right. I made it sound like we had some kind of human error last time around. That was certainly not the case. What we did have was by now famous Live in a Digital lobby crash. I feel like I've mentioned it before, but the lobby stability hasn't really been improving necessarily over the lifetime of the game so far. Something that you would hope to see, at least as far as I know. So a single warm-up lap now, then a pit stop, then another warm-up lap, a grid start formation that so everybody's gonna just remember their positions. I just thought for a moment like, oh, is that what start of a warm-up lap is this? Oh, Styx PS4 died. Oh. What timing? Styx PS4 really chose its moment well. Oh well, the starting procedure is underway yet again. We need Joe of the Fire up in 3rd position, was it? Or was it 4th? Yeah, Apple, you wish it would have looked beautiful there. Seems like everything is falling into place now. And it certainly is. Man, that is indeed really good. I'm gonna take this chance to grab some extra refreshments, some extra coffee. I will be back in a minute. Don't go anywhere. So, I'm back, ladies and gentlemen, and the cars are just making their way around. JC just left on my screen as well. I think he just left, or was it just a complete disconnection? Here's Joe of the Fire, Antares, Welsh, Martin, T5, Wake, Jimmy, then Shomar, Pinkery, Halbstack, Dr. Hash in 14th now. And I don't think we're gonna have any additional restarts because it's already late. Coca-Cola says pop. So by now we're waiting for the time signal. Here it is, 5:10, and that's right in a moment's time. That's 5 seconds from now. Actually, we're gonna have the green flag dropping right around here. And it's go, go, go! Round 2 of the TSR Super Formula is underway. Oh, and someone really got stuck on grid there, it seems. That isn't stuck on grid for real, actually. Dr. Hash and Halbstack. But it's in the madness that was the start. CJ's leading, Armored Core T5 Black has gained 3rd position from Joe of the Fire and Antares. Shomar's up into 6th. It's Martin 5007th in front of GT Welsh. Wake CU, Jimmy, Pinkery, Stick, Dr. Hash, and Halbstark, with a lot of catching up to do at the end of the pack. Evening Goat, what bit of poor luck, I have to say. So here on board with the American Armored Core, he's chasing CJ the Mad Greek for the lead of the race. 0.8 of a second here as they make their way up through the final sector now. CJ really seeming to run away. Oh, Armored Core almost running too wide there. Joe of the Fire, oh, there's massive gaps already here on lap 1. Look at that, Martin Faversen, 5.5 seconds behind. Chomar up into 5th position. What a first lap we've had from the Frenchman. He started in 10th position, he's now up into 5th. That's been an absolute mad start from Chomar as we have Halbstark quitting. That's a bit of a shame. T5 and Antari's in, so I think they've had some kind of contact between them. And it's Antari's exiting in front of T5. So that's poor luck indeed for those two. Joe of the Fire trying to make up some time. He is, though, still 3.8 seconds down. Martin, another 2.5 seconds, and there is then Chomar and Wake, Welsh, Pinkery, and the rest of the bunch. So Chomar, that strong of a start, I perhaps didn't expect. It's insane, actually. I don't think we can catch that long of a replay. But what we can try is see if we can catch another glimpse of the start. Already here up into 6th position, coming into turn 1. So getting well off the line. He's in front of Martin Faversen here. And that's impressive indeed. Another thing worth noting, everybody getting cleanly away, it seems, at least from turn 1. So CJ now by 1.7 seconds, extending his gap down to Armored Core, running second. Armored Core being chased by Joe of the Fire, who's really gaining, actually. He's gaining, and he's on a purple lap at the moment. 3.1 seconds down. Rapidly closing on Armored Core. What goat you want? Titchney's gloves? They've been everywhere, I would. I guess they've seen a lot of drama. Martin Faversen in 4th position now. Strong running, that's Chomar still 5th. With Wake CU very close. But it's up through the final sector. No space for overtaking here. As Wakes finds the door shot on the inside and gets loose on the curb. And that's advantage gone for Wake CU. Well, she's a second down on these two. The more battling they do in turn, the bigger the chance for Welsh to just catch up. And indeed, Joe was quite low on fuel here. He's now completely caught up to Armored Core. And that went fast. Oh, almost goes too wide. Manages to keep it up. And he's up towards the second hairpin now. That crest I mentioned earlier really makes it for a difficult corner exit. It's also it's going to be interesting to see when the cars choose to deploy their overtaking system, or when the drivers choose to deploy it. Last race we saw most of the drivers opt for saving the majority of it for the late stages of the race, which would make sense. So finally we've gotten the racing underway. We've got CJ leading Armored Core and Joe of the Fire. And then Martin Favhersen in 4th position. Then a big gap down to Shomar. 15 seconds down on CJ now there in 5th position. 10 seconds down on Martin in 4th. Wake CU and Welsh. There's Welsh moving up into 5th position on his way down to turn 1. I think that was the overtaking system being applied, getting that extra boost and getting a superior run out of turn 1. Wake CU really seeming to be off the pace at the moment, just having to see no damage from him, but he is of course on the mediums. GT Welsh in this situation, he is on the softs. So that of course explains the big difference in speed. He's now right on the tail of Shomar. Let's go on board with the Welshman as Evening Bambi. I don't know what happened to Antares and T5, but they pitted in after lap 1. Seemed they both had some damage, and they're now at the back of affairs. Here comes, almost goes too wide. Manages to just about keep it under control. GT Welsh, as he's looking for a space to pass Shomar. Here is Wake CU catching up yet again. Oh, and he's really all over the back of the Frenchman's car. And Phil Denty, the Spurs has gone up 1 on Manchester City. I'm happy to hear. Welsh has gone up 1 as well. He's gotten past Shomar. He's now up into 5th position as Wake CU down in 7th. He gets a big slide on the exit from turn 1. It's Pinkery and Jimmy in 8th and 9th. It's Pinkery here in the Volex esports cars. Also one of my favorite liveries running in the series. And then down in 10th, it's VRS Stick. Got off to a poor start. I didn't think he was completely ready. Here's Dr. Hash. Then T5 Black and Antares as well. CJ is still leading. It's now by 3 seconds. Joe of the Fire and Armored Core, or of course Joe of the Fire and Martin having gotten past Armored Core. Armored Core having lost a lot of time. Is he suffering from some kind of damage? No? Well, I just keep thinking that, but of course plenty of runoff area almost everywhere and on every turn here on Autopolis. Chat is gone. Football, half the match gone. I'll start broadcasting my FIFA career modes as half the match gone. Making up entire stories about the club and of course commentating the matches. Oh no, I won't, don't worry. Shomar back up into 5th position now. Where did Welsh go in all of this? Where did GT Welsh go? I think that's beyond us to capture. Oh, that's a shame. Welsh is in 9th position now, so he's all the way back there. And whatever happened, I'm guessing it wasn't too good. He's finding himself behind a bucket load of traffic. Cars running on the medium tires. Well, he's probably still going to be on the softs, I suppose, unless he had his pit stop. No, he didn't. That would be very weird as well, I guess. CJ, well, he's not really extending that gap anymore, is he? Joe of the Fire seems to be clawing it in now ever so slightly. At least he's hanging on. And Martin Favhersen also making a strong return. So CJ, I mean, brilliant couple of opening laps, but he's not really turned out to have that much of a pace advantage. At least not over longer distance. So far, both Joe of the Fire and Martin here seems to be able to keep up quite well. Oh, CJ completely overcooks it, and that's the race lead gone for him. I think Joe of the Fire very close. Is he gonna make it around the outside? Joe of the Fire gets a tap, and Martin wants a piece of it as well. This is brilliant action through the first hairpin, and Joe of the Fire is in the lead. CJ getting back at him there side by side. I think CJ here. Oh, and CJ gets it completely wrong. CJ, I might lose my voice if I don't take a break from talking here just for a second. But CJ completely bends it there on the exit. No doubt he will have picked up some kind of damage from that one. Joe of the Fire now leading Martin Pfeiffersen. Let's have another look, ladies and gentlemen. Insane situation here. Let's see, CJ gets wide there. Oh, and he gets a big impact with the wall already there, suffering the damage. And let's see this one from Joe of the Fire's car, because what a brilliant piece of racing afterwards. But now with CJ's damage, that makes a lot better sense. We have an apology coming in here from G5 Black to Dr. Hash. That doesn't sound too good. Look at this drag race out of this corner. Brilliant stuff indeed. Joe of the Fire taking the lead, and then CJ crashing, and me having to finish the replay because there just isn't any more time on it. Oh, CJ should not have tried to hold the outside there. I think I agree with you, Alex, and evening to you as well. Nice to have you along. And no, Bambi, I think that's a correct analysis. Let's see CJ rejoining track now in 8th position. VRS Stick coming into the pits from 9th position. He's on the mediums. And same goes for Welsh. Welsh in as well, low on fuel. What's it gonna be for Stick as he rejoins? I would imagine it's another set of mediums. And it is. Let's see, Welsh, it's fuel. It's probably gonna be a lot of fuel now. Joe of the Fire, he's inherited the lead from a crashing CJ, and he's now leading by right around 1.5 seconds down to Martin Pfeiffersen, the king of 2nd position, in the same spot as he was on Suzuka Armored Core. He's now 6 seconds down on Martin. That's 8 seconds on Joe of the Fire as he almost gets it completely wrong. Let's have another look at this situation for the American. Seems to be suffering today. Armored Core carries much too much speed. That's actually that's not a bad save at all, even though it's not anything dramatic. And then there's a big gap down to Wake CU, who's now up into 4th position. Brilliant running. He's ahead of Shoma. Pinkery is up into 6th. It's Jimmy in 7th. It's CJ now 8th. CJ, I think, having to oh, he's getting past Jimmy there up the inside. He certainly is. Not too much battle from the car guy, the Warp Speed car guy driver. Let's go on board, because he might find his way to actually being able to launch something. Oh, not at all. And Armored Core leaves and drops out as well. Did he just crash completely? I think we're have to gonna. I think that looks more like an actual disconnection. Oh, what a shame. Lobby issues yet again. And here's Welsh in the pits. That looks like permanent. Oh, that's poor. We have a big number of cars having incidents and having problems here. And pretty early on in the race as well. The 10th lap of actual racing is now done. Joe of the Fire leading Martin Pfeiffersen now by 3 seconds. The witty professor really seeming to be on his pace today. And certainly even more so than he showed on qualifying. And Tribe, I trigger the replay. I set a marker on the set button. First of all, you have to use a USB keyboard plugged into your PS4. And then you trigger a replay marker with the set button. And then you use X, C, or V to trigger the replay. And X, C, and V with... That's like the C. X is the shortest replay. C gives you a medium length clip. And V gives you a longer clip, so that's basically to see kind of where you want to hit in with the replay. A very good evening as well to everyone who's joined it here for the early bits of the race, as things seem to be slowly settling in, and saying that we still have a big bunch of cars here. I think it's Shomar further up. He's slightly breaking away. No, he isn't. CJ, though, really making his way up through this pack. because he was 8th when he rejoined the track. He's now up into 5th position. He's gotten through on Jimmy. He's gotten through on Pinkery and Antares as well. Rest in peace, the green car, indeed. What's your PSN? Or what's your PSN? I immediately came to think of the legendary, I think it's Craig David, it must be. It is, of course, the legendary Craig David song, What's Your Flavor? But what's my PSN? It's DirtenDK. As we go on board with CJ, he gets the run onto Shomar coming into turn 1, or does he? As Shomar is using the overtake function, CJ gets the dive, and he's up into 4th position. But he is half a minute down on the leaders. There's a big gap from Wake CU in 3rd to Martin Favhuysen in 2nd. And from Martin to Joe, it's also growing. Joe of the Fire really showing his qualities here today. Looking super steady, super stable. And as I say that, he just... Oh, he doesn't. There was a late double apex there. Long. And well, the start of this race turned out to be very long with the lobby issues we had and the lobby dying just as we were about to get the race underway for the first time. So that gave us an extra 10-15 minutes at least of hanging around in the lobby. And guess you missed that, but wasn't too eventful after all. And of course you missed qualifying, but still not fastest lap for Joe of the Fire, that's true, but he's close and he's consistent. And he's pulling away on that overall basis from Martin Favhuysen. It's now 3.5 seconds. And CJ seems to be gaining on Wake, and there it is behind. It's Pinkery getting a brilliant run on Shomar. Let's see, can he have a send into sended corner? No, he can't. Shomar knows where to defend, he knows where to go heavy on that boost button. Which I think is a really weird thing to call it, the overtake button. Let's overtake! But what if you're defending and you use the overtake button to defend? You know, it's kind of strange. But there is this boost system, and it works really well in order to give just that little bit of extra. CJ's certainly making that comeback, and it wouldn't be beyond him to finish on the podium. I'm quite sure he's more than capable of that. Now Pinkery's having yet another look up the inside of Shomar here. Pinkery seeming to be on really good pace for this race. It's Jimmy in 7th in the car guy Honda. I think it's a Honda. It is the car guy Honda. And good job on Jimmy so far for holding on in 7th. I'd say also a good job for being one of the better runners on the mediums. Or did he start on the softs? I actually don't remember now. Anyway, Antares is 8th after his early problems. He's chased by VRS Stick. Then in 10th at the moment, it's T5 Black. In 11th, it's Dr. Hash, and I think having retired in 12th. In the pits, it is, of course, GT Welsh having pulled off, I think, for today. So, quite a bit of a manslaughter here early on, with 4 cars eliminated already. Close to 4 seconds now, the gap between the 2 leaders. Wake CU, his gap down to CJ in 4th is most certainly diminishing. It was over 4 seconds last time around, we checked. By now, it's really coming down. And it's beginning to be a question of how long can the soft tires last on CJ's cars. And it's of course an interesting thing to notice that some of these drivers will save their softs for later in the race. Of course it is so that this series uses 2 compounds for each race. And the compounds for this race is softs and mediums. And drivers will only have a single set of softs for the race and an unlimited set of mediums in turn. I'd imagine you'd use a single set of mediums and a set of softs for the race, even though it's a tire wear times 3. You might see the 2-stop or the 2-stop actually coming into play. That'll be interesting. So CJ is now 2 seconds up to Wake. That gap is really just coming away quickly. CJ on fresh mediums. So an impressive pace to pull off, having changed from the softs already. Certainly an impressive pace to hold at the moment. Shomar still defending from Pinkery. It's still within half a second between the two. I think Pinkery will be hard fought to get any closer within the 30 area. Team just can't get close enough, coming down towards that first, or that second hairpin. Of course, the first hairpin being the right-hand one earlier on the track. In the beginning of the second sector, this coming just in the beginning of the third sector. So checking back with Joe of the Fire, he's further extended. His gap is now up to 4.5 seconds, down to Martin Favhuisen. And that big gap still remaining down to Wake CU in third position. Actually 2 lap cars now already in between those two. But look at that. CJ massively gaining on Wake at the moment. That gap is coming down so rapidly. And almost close enough actually to justify the Wang cam. CJ seemed to get a poor exit there from the hairpin, losing a little bit of time in the process. So second still Martin Favhuisen, and same place as he occupied last week, behind CJ for the entire race. Close to on pace, not really able to match it in the end though. And it seems just so far at least to be the same story for today. Although it is a long race, there is a lot of racing left. Nothing is certain now. One thing is for certain, CJ has caught up to Wake CU. We're on board with the Belgian in the Sugar Rush performance car with the Wang cam. As someone, I think that's T5 Black that gets lapped. And then on board with the Mad Greek in the Vert car, of course the Virtual Endurance Racing Team as it stands for. We have Jimmy in the pits, he was on softs as well, so Jimmy pitting in from 8th position. And that'll be, of course, no other choice than mediums for him for the rest of the race. Still 35 laps of racing remaining. We have Antarius pretty close to now in 9th, Dr. Hash in 10th, T5 Black is 11th. Joe of the Fire still that 4.5 second gap, seems pretty stable at the moment. Oh, and that's something that isn't stable at all. Oh, Wake CU as he goes off in the final sector. I think there's a little bit of a touch between himself, perhaps, and T5 Black. Well, let's have another look at what happened for Wake CU. Oh, it's a problem with I think it's Dirty Air that gets the better of him, or the worst of him. Have another look at the situation here. I think it's Dr. Hash he's catching up to, gets a little loose there on the entrance too. He's low speed, and then the front end does not want to comply, and off he goes. Big trouble for Wake CU. Could be worse, of course, had he sustained damage, but he lost out on some very valuable time indeed, and he lost out on that 3rd position to CJ, who's now got a clean run in front of him. Martin Favhuisen still holding on to the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:24.4. It's Shomar, he's 10 seconds, I'm sorry, 10.5 seconds down on Wake. He's still just followed by Pinkery, Those two have been going at it for lap after lap after lap. Pinkery simply not able to find a way through on the Frenchman, who in turn is also one of the best GT Sport drivers in the world. So fair game on Pinkery for choosing just to tag along here. Now, of course, interesting to see how big this gap will get before these drivers get on the softs, and how much time they'll have to close up to make themselves get closer to the drivers who started out on the soft compound. Pinkery once more getting right up there, very close to Chomar in front. Still not able to pull off the move. VRS Stick is pitting in. So fresh tires. And what else? Nothing else for VRS Stick, just a set of fresh mediums. And he rejoins right in front of Jimmy. And make that right behind into turn 1. And that's Jimmy in 7th now again. Joe of the Fire pitting in. Martin pitting in at the same time. But Martin, look at that Martin with considerably more fuel than Joe of the Fire. And he will see this. He'll see this for the pit stop round. He'll know that that he can take him on. And he's certainly gained a lot on that pit stop alone. He's gained 3 seconds. And now both leading cars are on the mediums. CJ pitting in as well. CJ pitting in now. Okay, of course he got those mediums quite early in the race. But that also tells us something, that even a set of mediums will need changing as the race wears on, and it's certainly not going to be able to keep its pace about it for prolonged periods of time. Here CJ rejoins, Chomar gets through, but Pinkery doesn't, and that's going to be a big problem for Pinkery now, even though, is it, as CJ gets the run on Chomar on his way down towards turn 1, and he uses the overtake system. As you see that flashing green light, that is of course when they deploy the overtaking system, and you'll see that little green light atop the driver's head flash. And when they get to only to the last fourth or the last 25% of boost left, that's when you'll see it glowing red. When it's not lighting at all or doing anything, well, that's when there's nothing more left in the boost tank for the drivers. So Joe of the Fire now, it's under 1.5 seconds. Martin's gained a little bit on this lap. I think he smells blood, the Dutchman here, really wanting a victory. He's been so close now already on several occasions, and really showing that he is a pacey gentleman indeed, Martin Vijfhuizen. Of course, he was gifted the win at the last round of last season of the Nookshot Endurance Series, after both CJ and Armored Core being disqualified in hugely dramatic fashion for corner cutting. Now Wake CU, Pinkery. Oh, Pinkery, is he getting the run on Chomar here? He is on the outside though. That's a brilliant move from Pinkery around the outside. Is he going to be able to keep it? He gets in the grass, and I think Chomar gets back there. Chomar keeps it. Chomar keeps it. Let's just have another look here, because that was an absolutely brilliant move, a brilliant attempt. Round that outside. But also just Chomar playing it cool, able to get early on the throttle, able to get away before, keeping hold of that 5th position. He's had Pinkery for company for a long time by now. He's kept it cool all the way through. Stick now up into 7th. It's Antares 8th. It's Jimmy in 9th. T5 Black in 10th. And Dr. Hash in 11th. But it's absolutely true, Bambi, that sometimes you really just have to lick the stamp and send it. Hello and good evening, Quentin. Nice to have you along as well, mate. And I hope you're doing well. Still Joe of the Fire leading. That advantage though stationary around the, well, between 1 and 1.5 seconds. And it's going up and down. Seeming to where they have their strong points on the track. Those two drivers seem very closely matched here. Joe of the Fire with a small mistake. And it might also be a matter of, well, if Martin can get within the slipstream, then he has a possibility of getting an overtake done. And thanks, Quentin. I'm doing very well. I'm nice. I'm relaxed. I'm off work tomorrow. So what more can I ask for? Had some good weather on the last couple of days. Evening, Jermaine. And sometimes Rabbit Gator it goes return to sender, address unknown, because you ended up in the wall somewhere, I guess, singing an Elvis Presley song. We're following Wake CU, the Belgian. He's in 3rd position at the moment, though he is 20 seconds down on race leader Joe of the Fire. Martin Favhuisen is in 2nd position. And as I say that, Wake is now pitting in, so CJ is gonna inherit 3rd position from that. I think as well that Chomar and Pinkery will get their way through, and it'll be interesting to see, but it'll also in turn be interesting to see how much fuel they have left. And one thing we haven't really considered is the fact that Pinkery might also just be enjoying the fact that he can fuel save in the shadow of Chomar here. Oh, as he almost overcooks it on the exit of turn 1. Dangerous one there, Pinkery. Let's have another look at what happened. But he managed to keep it under control. Oh, that's that situation from before. Ah, that was brilliant as well. Fantastic send. Or send attempt, at least, around the outside from Pinkery. That was close to working. Didn't quite... Oh, Martin Favhuisen. He's thrown away over a second there to Joe of the Fire. Must have made some kind of mistake at some point here. And that gap's now up to 2.4 seconds. Not optimal indeed for Martin, who was so close to getting within the slipstream reach of the witty professor in front. Now he finds himself with more catching up to do. He has to be careful he doesn't overcook it in his attempts to push even further. Here's VRS Stick, he's in 7th position. He's got 2.8 seconds down to Antares. He's got 5 seconds, or just around so, up to Wake in 6th position. Wake just rejoining after his pit stop. And indeed both Chomar and Pinkery easily through. Wake is 11 seconds down on those. But Wake, of course, having had his first pit stop. Same goes for the 2 race leaders. Same goes for CJ, very much so here. Wake pitting in again. Oh! What was that all about? Wake having damage. Wake having damage. Oh, that's not what we wanted to see, and that's certainly not what he wanted for himself here. Wake CU, such poor luck indeed. And he rejoins now in 8th position. So far down the order, and so quickly things can turn right on his head there. Joe of the Fire making a safe pass on that left car. Martin Favhuisen pulled in a little bit of what he threw away. It's now 1.7 seconds between the two. And then CJ, as we know, 3rd position at the moment for him. But he's quite isolated. He's like Robinson Crusoe at the moment, with the plus 10 seconds in front and behind him. The car behind is T5 Black. He's had some very poor luck. He's been lapped. And look at that, Chomar and Pinkery. Well, it's still those two. It's still that 0.4 of a second advantage in favor of Chomar, who gets a poor exit here. That might actually be the chance for Pinkery. Coming down towards turn 3. Let's see, not close enough. Oh, and that's Antares also leaving more manslaughter. Or leaving, I say. It could very well also have been a disconnect, since we've already had some lobby issues here. So that could have been the chance. Oh, is it gonna be? No. Ricardo sent from Pinkery into the second hairpin here. Although I think it was most certainly on his mind. He's biding his time here, Pinkery. And he knows that if he can spot somewhere on the course where Chomar is slow, or just a little slower than himself, and just get within reach, he might be able to have a lunge. And it might all come down to the fact that it's so hard getting close on the exit of the final corner because of the dirty air. As you see, every time around he just gains up to that point 3 seconds here. It's a little bit less than it was last time around. This time it's not gonna be. Pinkery just makes himself wide and makes himself shown in the mirrors of the car in front. Such a difficult place to overtake this, as it shows here on board with Chomar and the Wang Cam. Pinkery looking around the outside, then looking for the exit. Finds it absolutely impossible. And it's yet another corner that Chomar managed to defend from here. It's absolutely brilliant stuff from the Frenchman. It has to be said. The IGTL organizer, the AS Monaco professional, the AS Monaco esports professional, rock music fan, guitar player as well. And of course, with a great sense of humor when it comes to his nationality and whatever comes with it, be it baguettes, berets, or a big glass of red wine indeed. A lovely character on the... And a good friend of us here on the channel, and a good friend of the channel, I'd say, all in all and in general. A friendship that we appreciate indeed. VRS Stick 6th, he's now catching up to these two, or so it seems. He's slowly appearing there in the background. Here he is. Mind you that you might think that his car is the same as... Oh, Bambi, that's a tough one. But no, you think it's the same as Welsh's livery, but now Welsh, of course, isn't in the race anymore, but those are actually opposites of each other. So you'd see Welsh as being white to the left and dark on the right. Back to the race leader, Joe of the Fire. It's 1.3 seconds still, so it might actually just command a little bit more attention than we've given it for the last couple of laps. It just seems so static between these two. Of course, absolute maximum pressure being applied here, as Martin 5 Ocean shows, with a little bit of a mistake, and then he misses the next apex, and in turn loses out on a couple of tenths through here. A very good evening to everyone watching, everyone who's tuned in here. We're a little bit over halfway through the race, and of course, if you like our broadcast here of the TSR Super Formula and what we do on the channel in general, hit us up with a like on the video, and if you haven't already and feel like it, do also feel free to subscribe to stay in touch and in tune with what we do here on the channel. Martin almost overcooking it there, but he's getting closer to Joe. Here is Chomar's pitting in. That's... Oh, he's on the softs now for the last 23 laps. What, Alex? Most French people have no clue about white flag Joes. Oh, that makes it even more cruel that every French guy is gonna be like, what? Oh, that was a terrible French. I'm not gonna do my French impression because it might offend few friends of mine by now, so I'm gonna go into it. What the? That might have been a big smoke, though. Well, I can't even give you a big smoke when trying. He just comes out all by himself sometimes. Well, let's go back with Joe of the Fire. And that static gap down to Martin Faverheisen. Oh, Joe got it a little bit wrong there, actually. And for the first time in quite a bit of time, actually, it's now gotten under a second. And Martin Faverheisen is within the slipstream. Let's go on board with the Dutchman. Alex, you wasn't invited. Alex, you could have signed up if you probably didn't know. But Alex, we'd love to have you racing along at some point in the TSR. So if you want to race along with us here in the series with us, since I'm totally racing here, as you see, I'm with the pad right now. So I think you're very much welcome. That was the wrong button. Excuse me. Still quite close. And now it's just static at 0.8 of a second instead. CJ here third, but that island has just become even more of an island, and there's exactly 26 seconds to front and arrears for him. Pinkery now fourth. He's gonna try that overcut on Chomar, finally having some clean air in front of him for what seems like pretty much the first time this entire race for Pinkery, who's just been there behind Chomar all the way through. VRS stick, that's 2.1 seconds. He is certainly catching up, but mind you, he is on the soft compound tires at the moment. Or so I'm quite sure, did he? Or was that Chomar who went on that? No, that's still on the mediums, but with very low fuel indeed. But Chomar, of course, running the softs at the moment. So we might see the Frenchman set in some blistering lap times here. He's nearing Wake CU, and he's nearing Wake CU quickly indeed. Oh yeah, it is a bit late for many. And I also have to say, if I had to work tomorrow, it'd also be a little late for me broadcasting here. Chomar with a purple first sector. That might be the pace we're looking at here. Wake seems to be going well at the moment. There are no signs of him giving up without a fight. Of course, Wake CU currently in 6th position. Yeah, Alex, it always sucks when real life just disagrees with something you want to do. VRS Stick finds himself in 5th position now, and he's on an absolute charge. He's catching up to Pinkery very quickly indeed. Pinkery, of course, at this point on worn mediums indeed. And that's the time for Pinkery to pit. It's the time for VRS Stick to make an absolute bomber out of it. He makes a huge mess out of that one. He taps the back of Pinkery and sends it into the pit wall. What a shame for VRS Stick. Did I mention he was on the softs 2 times in a row? Because of course he isn't. With that light car indeed. Now he got some damage to repair for this pit stop as well. What poor luck for VRS Stick at the time where he didn't want to make such a mistake. Well, that was exactly what happened. And I think it's gonna leave Chomar through again. It's most certainly it's gonna leave massively Chomar through with a big advantage. But that Chomar who didn't fuel, and I think he's okay on fuel for the rest of the race. And if that's an undercut to put Pinkery out of his slipstream, well, he's done it by 20 seconds, and that's an undercut that works if ever I've seen one. Chomar now getting very close to Wake CU in front. He's going to be the next target for the Frenchman. Although I think the podium might just be outside reach for Chomar, because there's about half a minute from Wake CU up to CJ in 3rd position. Oh, and what's happened in the lead battle? We have Martin Faverheisen leading, and me completely managed to miss it And we have Joe of the Fire seeming to go backwards now with front arrow damage. Front arrow damage for Joe of the Fire, so that's a bad situation for him indeed. And he's now very quickly losing time to our new race leader, that is Martin Favhuysen for the Warp Speed Cam Hatch Riva Racing team. I guess it's just the Cam Hatch Warp Speed or Warp Speed Cam Hatch. But anyway, Martin Favhuysen, Joe of the Fire, of course, pitting in. Well, he has to. That car looked pretty much undrivable for him. What poor luck indeed. And how close is CJ gonna get through all this? He's not gonna catch up. Might get close. Yes, of course, gonna get closer. Here it is, CJ. Oh, he's actually very close now. We have Jimmy pitting in from 8th position, but that's just 1.3 seconds by now between Joe of the Fire and CJ. So the battle for 2nd position in turn has now opened up completely. And if Martin Favhuysen can keep it cool for just under 20 laps here, he will most certainly run away with this one. He's now left with a big advantage all by himself out in front, and it's his to lose by this time here. Joe of the Fire must have had some kind of mistake. I'm thinking he could have had some contact with one of the lap cars. It could, of course, be contact with Martin as well. We'll have to hear from Joe after the race. Perhaps another piece of contact with the lap cars that's turned out to be a big challenge here on this track in these cars. Unlucky guys indeed. Such a shame. Such a shame for the witty professor. Looking strong for... In turn, the bad luck of one is the good fortune of another, and now Martin Favhuysen has taken advantage of that. CJ seems to be losing out on Joe of the Fire because he is just not really able to keep up. Now, there is a little catch to this, because if Martin needs another pit stop, then Joe of the Fire might just have put in an undercut, and he could still pass him in theory, but that is if Martin needs another pit stop. If Martin's able to go through all the way to the line on what he has here, well, it is going to be difficult here. CJ losing a lot of time here through sectors 1 and 2 on this lap. Plenty of space though down to Wake CU. Still Chomar hot on his tail, but Chomar having a hard time also getting past. Of course, Joe on fresh tires now, so that's gonna give him an advantage over CJ. And absolutely insane stuff indeed. This race is turning out to be unpredictable, to say the least. Oh, Stick has also lost out on some of that time he gained on Pinkery. Jimmy is in the pits. Is he just stationary there for now? I hope not. That'd be a shame if it is so. Here's Dr. Hash in 10th position. That jumps him up into 9th. Here's T5 Black, he's in 8th, but he's a long way down on VRS Stick, who's in front of him. The Swedish survivor will have to live to fight another day, because surely hasn't been his night tonight. He was close to getting a podium finish. Actually, last week he was running so strongly, especially over the final parts of the TSR GT300 series. So it is an on-form T5 that we've seen as of late, and shame for him that it's been such a poor piece of luck today. And such is racing, Alex. That's what happens with racing incidents and such. Here, Pinkery on a very good lap time. Still, though, Martin Faversen with the 1:24.4. That's fastest. It's like people can touch the sector time through turn 1 and sector 1, but not through the 2 remaining sectors. Let's see his time towards the hairpin here. Oh, he is still 3/10 clear. 3/10 purple for Pinkery. Pinkery, who might actually be on the soft compound. He is. He is on his late charge here on the softs now, Pinkery. So is that gonna steal him? Fastest lap of the race? Well, if he keeps this pace going, if he keeps it together, it might very well just. Let's see. He's certainly gaining on Chomard at the moment, although that's not in it actually is quite a lot. He's gaining by the 10th here. And that's been a second on this lap alone. Let's see what's gonna be for Pinkery. A new fastest lap. It is not. It is beaten by 2/10 here by the lap time of our race leader, Martin Faversen. He's lost a little bit of time to Joe of the Fire. It's 20.1 seconds. How much fuel does Martin have left in turn? He seems to be all set on fuel to go all the way to the line. But what a manslaughter this race has been, of course, with the confusion in the... We had a little bit of confusion on the starting... not on the starting procedure, but at the actual start, that there was a little bit of short notice maybe from Welsh. If I could comment on it myself, and that I think left out a couple of guys in that start. Then we're behind from the very beginnings, and then the drama happened thick and fast on the opening 10-15 laps of the race, and we've had we don't have that many drivers left in the race in turn. Something of a rarity. Oh, as Martin Faversen completely overcooks it. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Watch out, Martin. And that is, of course, gonna cost him a lot of time. Just sends it wide, parks it there. Manages not to do a 360 pirouette. Manages not to get in the way of VRS stick as he comes round. Ooh, but it's cut half of his advantage. Half! I've got a million jokes from Eddie Murphy, Raw, and Delirious now coming up. I'm not going to go into it. Anyway, 11 seconds is now what used to be over 20 seconds for Martin Faversen. And that is by... It's gonna... Surely it's gonna... It's gonna give blood on the tooth of Joe of the Fire. Because he knows he's on much fresher tires. And he'll be seeing that advantage coming down. There's still 14 laps of racing left. So just about 20 minutes left of racing in turn. Still all to play for here. Joe of the Fire might just get it here. Pinkery gets fastest lap. Managed to set in something that's just a little better than he did before. Martin, so I guess Jonathan is in party with Martin, I could imagine, as friend and teammate of him in some of the other series, and is reporting that his fronts are suffering, and that sounds very plausible to me. Here he is, Martin Faversen. Oh, we can see Joe of the Fire now in the background. That red shade in the background is the car of Joe of the Fire. He's getting closer and closer. Already on this lap, Joe of the Fire gained a second. So this might turn out to be very, very interesting indeed, and it might go all the way to the line. Here is CJ. CJ pitting in. And that's CJ back out, holding on to third position, but only just. And Chomar just might get the lunge. Oh, it doesn't into turn one, but he's close. And he's close enough to put on the pressure onto CJ. I think Chomar is running on the soft compound tire still. Let's see. Yes, he is. Chomar on the softs still. And that, of course, means that unless those softs are completely worn out by now, he will have a good shot of actually keeping up with and putting the pressure on to CJ, although it seems that it is advantage the Mad Greek in front. We'll have to see. So Martin says on team radio to Apple that tires are okay. Well, that leaves it at being just a driving mistake. It's now 7.8 seconds. But he seems to have regained his composure. He's not bleeding time in the same manner that he was a couple of laps ago. I just saw a little a little switch, and in turn there was no switch. It's still CJ in front of Chomar. Pinkery 5th, it's Wake CU 6th. 2 seconds between those two cars at the moment. Pinkery now new fastest lap holder. VRS Stick in 7th position. T5 in 8th, and Dr. Hash in 9th. As we are close to the final 10 laps of racing, we're actually getting underway with them. Just as I say that, 10 laps left for the race leader, Martin Favhuisen. He's got 7 seconds down to Joe off the fire. The advantage is coming down lap for lap. But of course, as Murray Walker once said, famously said, one thing is catching up to the car in front. Getting past is a whole other business, and that is certainly true here on Autopolis. It's proven to be true on several occasions already throughout this race. And well, we'll just have to see if Martin Favhuisen can hold on. 6.2 seconds, so it's going down quickly now. There is the car of Joe off the fire. Of course, in third, it's CJ. He's a long way back. And it's Chomar now having lost a little time on the Mad Creek. So CJ, as he exited the pits, he's on fresh mediums. Chomar's soft tires are getting worn by now, so it's advantage CJ at the moment. Oh, who was that who went straight? That's T5 Black, who's parked the car. F's out. Martin, it's now 5.3 seconds. So that advantage is coming down, and I think it's coming down faster than Martin Favhuisen would like it to. Because, before you know it, it's gonna be Joe off the fire, right on his tail. If this pace continues, if this rate of gaining on Martin continues from the Witty Professor, we're watching him now, we're following him on his way up to the second hairpin, the left-hand hairpin. And any tire advantage would show itself there on corner exit. Seems like Martin is just trying to give it a push. And yeah, Casper indeed, another driver retired. It was T5 Black. That poor luck all the way through, reported with several contacts with some of the traffic. And understandable that just isn't fun in the long run. But a dramatic round indeed so far. And it seems it's going to be dramatic all the way to the line today. Because Martin Favhuisen now leading by just 4.3 seconds down to Joe of the Fire. It's coming together between our two leaders within the last 10 laps of racing. And this is going to be a difficult one to call. What is your call, guys? Guys and gals, everything in between out in chat. What do you think? And hey, T5, sorry to see that today wasn't your day. And yeah, of course, Apple, the Nukeshot Motorsports team boss, is sitting there thinking, take it easy, don't bin it. Of course, Martin Favhuisen for Warp Speed Racing here, and the Cam Hatch racing team as well. Riva Racing that he usually races for. So technically, I guess, not a Nukeshot car. Is it one of the cars with Nukeshot backing? Apple, you tell me. Jonathan's original top 3 guess was Joe, Martin, CJ. This is gonna be Martin, Joe, CJ, but actually, Jonathan, I have to say, if it comes down to be Joe, Martin, CJ, that's a hell of a call. Let's see, it's now 3 seconds. It's now within 3 seconds. There is a piece of VRS stick in between the two cars at the moment, but I think Stick will have the courtesy to get far out of the way of Joe of the Fire once he gets close. Oh, so Martin and Wake does have Nukeshot backing as well. Okay, so that does make it a battle between two teammates in front, or at least two cars with the same team backing them. But as Apple mentioned earlier, there will be no team orders between the two. And I'm guessing it wouldn't make sense even this early in the season. And also, I guess, should there be team orders based on points, they would go the way of Martin Favhuisen, who is the stronger. Okay, so 1.8 seconds now. This is really coming together. And we've still got 7 laps of racing left. So, but as we mentioned this on a couple of occasions, Joe of the Fire is not only gonna need to catch Martin Favhuisen, he is gonna get to pass as well. Oh, HCU's gotten past on Pinkery somehow. And he's up into 5th. It's Pinkery 6th, VRS Stick 7th, and Dr. Hash in 8th. In a very, very decimated field here. Of course, Joe of the Fire is probably gonna be held up ever so slightly by VRS Stick. Let's see. Oh, Joe almost overcooks it. I think he's gonna be cussing and cursing there inside of his helmet. Maybe a little annoyed that VRS Stick didn't just break away from him there in the situation and give him space. It is, of course, the battle between the leaders, and this will hugely favor Martin Favhuisen at the moment. And Casper, at the moment it's lap 47 out of 53. And they're coming towards the end, so they're coming on to the 48th lap at the moment. VRS Stick pitting in here, Joe of the Fire getting through, but he's lost some time. It's been a little bit of a setback. And we see that Joe of the Fire is now on to those last 25% of his boost, whilst Martin's got more left than that. That's of course going to be an advantage if Martin at some point needs to go defensive. So that's 5 laps of racing left at the moment. It's going to be so close. And it's almost within a second. That came down quickly as VRS stick got out of the way by pitting in. Let's go on board with Joe of the Fire as he's getting closer and closer and closer. Oh, Joe, don't fin it now. The witty professor. It's been an eventful race for him, picking up damage while in the lead, losing the lead. Now after Martin binned it, he's now all the way on the tail. No doubt that without those 10 seconds that Martin lost, this wouldn't have been in question whatsoever. On with the wang cam here of Martin Favhuisen. Joe of the Fire is right on the tail now. And I'm quite sure we're going to be seeing Joe of the Fire using all that boost system just to try to get in front. He's on the outside now, on into turn 1. Let's see, he's going to go for the cutback. Martin Favhuisen intelligently just places the car on the apex and goes slowly around there, just blocking off Joe of the Fire. Joe of the Fire making himself visible in the mirrors. He's putting on the pressure. Oh, this is close stuff. And he certainly knows he doesn't have all day there. Martin forced to the inside. Oh, this is close stuff. And indeed, Alex, he does need to be patient there. He gets a little bit of a weak exit, loses out on a little bit of time. And that's even more time lost for Joe. It's now a second, so he's outside of the slipstream yet again. And what might be that is Martin still plenty of boost left. So Joe of the Fire now back on the tail of Martin Favhuisen. It's getting so close. It's on to the last 4 laps of racing now. Let us see Joe of the Fire within 0.3 of a second. Although he's not really close enough. But that is close enough. If ever it was, here it comes, perhaps on the outside. Is that a little bit of contact? They're now side by side. Martin manages to keep it for now. It's getting closer and closer here. And look at the gap down to CJ is just quickly diminishing by now. This race is going all the way to the line in the battle for the lead. Martin Favhuisen, he's biting in with nails, claws, teeth, everything that he can use to hang on to that first position. Oh, as he overcooks it into the left-hand hairpin, it's Joe of the Fire retakes it. Here comes the boost from Martin down the inside, though they're side by side. Oh, and that's brilliant stuff from Joe of the Fire to hold on. Hold on for now at least. Let's have another look at what happened here. Oh, Martin just got deep in the corner that opened up for Joe of the Fire. And there was Martin here with the run, actually. Joe, of course, in front. Martin trying to send it on the inside. Joe holding on the outside, taking the lead of the race so late on. 3 laps left now. 1.5 second of a lead. And that might be an irreversible situation now for Martin Favhuisen, who might just have to be content with second place in the end yet again. And look at that, Joe of the Fire now really extending that gap quickly indeed. And yeah, I'm also saying Martin, he should probably use a little more of the boost. I'm sure he could have been in a better situation. But indeed, Rabbit Gator, yeah, it was lost at the spin because it would have been close, probably even with it. And I would have been sitting here being all like, oh, it's only 4 seconds by now, it's 3.5 seconds on the last lap, and then Martin could have held it home, but it wasn't to be. He did have that spin, and in turn he did lose out on the race lead. Not long to go now. Penultimate lap for the 2 leaders. And Wake with the fastest lap now. Wake CU with the fastest lap, and he's moved up into 4th position indeed as well. So he's really had a strong final part of the race here. The Sugar Rush Performance Belgian. And that means the NES back cars are gonna be 1st, 2nd and 4th. And then with Armored Core, it could have been even better as well. Ruben, no, this is not actual Formula 1. It's Super Formula from the world of Gran Turismo. And Super Formula, of course, being the top-tier Japanese Formula series, the thing formerly known as Formula Nippon in Japan. And look at the gap now, 4.8 seconds. So I think that's also just Martin having conceded, knowing that it's just gonna be 2nd for him today. CJ, it's most certainly gonna be 3rd for him in a very eventful race. A race with highs and lows, ups and downs for CJ as well. Seemed to be the guy with the strongest actual pace. At least in qualifying, he was in pole. He was extending his gap until he completely binned it on that turn 1 exit. And that was in turn the last for him. And CJ, poor luck there for him, but he managed to pick up the pieces. Came out of the pits at some point in 8th position. Now he's running 3rd, so it's not all bad for CJ indeed. Joe of the Fire is on his final lap now. And he's coming up towards the 2nd of the hairpin, so it's already pretty much halfway through it. We're coming back to Martin Favhuisen, 2nd position. It'll be for him. CJ there, 3rd. So that is the podium for today as Joe of the Fire, the witty professor, makes his way through the final sector, through that long right sweeper, through the final left-hander onto the start-finish straight. He's going to take the checkered flag and take the win here at Autopolis from the 2nd round of the TSR Super Formula. A brilliant win. It's 2nd place yet again. 2nd week in a row for Martin Favhuisen being 2nd. It's gonna be Crazy John is here. CJ the Mad Greek in 3rd position. And it could have been much more for him, barring those incidents that he had. Wake CU is gonna finish in 4th position. Here he comes through the final bits and bobs up the track. There is Wake, and well done, Jonathan. Indeed, you need to serve a prize for that call out. CJ or Shomar 5th, and Pinkery right behind in 6th. Then it is VRS 7th and Dr. Hash 8th, and that's actually all we had of finishers. So as I've mentioned before, quite the manslaughter for the drivers here today. Joe of the Fire wins it, and he goes up from what, 11th on the grid or something like that. That can't be true. No, that's most certainly not true. He was 3rd. That was just me getting confused. Well, what a race, what a piece of action-packed, unpredictable Gran Turismo sports racing here. It was rather insane, gonna say. And thanks, Rapid Gator, appreciate it. Of course, if you liked the broadcast we just did here, do hit the like button. If you haven't already, and you do like what we do here on the channel, Feel free to subscribe as well to stay in touch with what we do. And thanks everyone for tuning in to this piece of action-packed racing. And I'll hope to see you again next week, of course. Congratulations to our podium finishers, Joe of the Fire, Martin Faversen, and CJ. Thanks to all the drivers who took part in today's race. A bit of a shame that we had so many lobby issues. I know that it's been left very, very late for... It's been a bit late for some of the drivers, indeed. So, I just need... I need a sip of something liquid. Petrol. Man, see you, Casper. Thanks for tuning in. That goes for everyone who's tuned in tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure having you along for this TSR Super Formula broadcast. My name is, of course, DirtenDK, and you've been watching Half the Race Gone. And we will be back on Thursday, I think, with... not I think, I know we'll be back on Thursday. Moment. I do have to do that sometimes. But Thursday, we'll be back with Dirten Rally. We'll be back with... some NES action on Sunday, if I'm not completely mistaken. It is the Group 4 race from Bathurst. Indeed, the Mountain King Challenge. Do tune in for that. It's gonna be a hell of a race. We're gonna be back with the Audi TT Showdown Series monthly race on Monday, and then of course with the third round of the TSR Super Formula on next Tuesday in a week's time. So hope to see you all again soon, sometime soon, and until that, it's been a pleasure, and take care, have fun, and I'm waving bye bye.